Cute though.
What's going on with y'all? It's not Friday night. It's Wednesday night. So don't be confused, but it is still the Play College Sports Talk Show. A little special edition for y'all tonight. Doing our live NCAA March Madness bracket right here live on air with you. But we're still gonna be live Friday night. So make sure you come back and join us Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be talking a lot of NFL free agency and any other big news going on around the world of sports. So for those of you who might be new, allow me to introduce myself. They call me Box, Stephen Box. You can find me at Real Play Callers on Twitter. And I'm joined as always by my co-host, the other half of the World Tag Team Champions of Interactive Sports Talk, the one and the only.
That would be your boy Cool McCain. You can find me at Real Play Callers on Twitter or at Cool McCain on Twitter. Let's go.
And together we are
The Play Callers.
all right, man. So we might have some people join us tonight. We might not, since this is not our regular scheduled time. If they do, we'll do what we do and we'll be interactive. But otherwise, we're gonna jump right into this bracket. So as you can see, the at Real Play College at the top lets you know this is the official Play College bracket on the NCAA website. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off over here in the West, man. I just had to make sure that the technical stuff was working, but I'm gonna go ahead and make an assumption that I got everything right so far. That you're picking Gonzaga to win.
That was never a question, sir.
Just want to make sure, man. I don't want to make no assumptions, man. But by the way, for those of y'all who might not know, Cool is our resident basketball expert. So unless he says something just outrageous like his Tar Heels are going to the Final Four, probably not going to hear me disagree with a lot of what he has to say tonight because this is his area. So I'm gonna trust your opinions tonight.
Unless it's the Tar Heels in the Final Four, huh?
Yeah, then I'm gonna have to be like, bro, your homerism showing we got to draw the line here.
Line's always in the sand somewhere with you, man.
Always, man, always. All right, so we got Boise at Memphis.
I'm going to go Memphis here.
Okay. Yeah, it's always that toss up with 8-9 seeds. You just never really know.
Yeah.
All right, we got our first 5 versus 12 matchup. UConn against is that New Mexico maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 5 and 12. We know what happens with 5 and 12s.
Always at least one.
New Mexico. We're going with multiples. We're going with multiples this year, by the way. This won't be the only one.
Now, I do want you to tell me real quick why you're picking this one. If you have a really good reason, or if it's just a gut feeling, that's fine. The reason I'm asking because UConn is actually who I went with on my personal bracket, so I'm just curious why you're picking the upset here.
UConn is a team that they could go very far in the tournament, right? But they've got to get past that 5-12 matchup, and I just think a lot of times when you're 5 in that 5-12 matchup, you're kind of coming in, you're a little flat. You're kind of overlooking those guys a little bit. You're not paying attention to thinking about history. And that's why we have this happen every year. And I believe New Mexico State is going to go ahead and continue that trend.
Okay. Fair enough. Arkansas and Vermont.
Definitely Arkansas here.
Okay. So before we can pick this next one, we got to pick another game that's happening here in about an hour or so. Rutgers and Notre Dame. Who's going to win that and play Alabama?
Well, we'll go. We can say Notre Dame. It doesn't really matter because I have Alabama winning the game, so it doesn't really matter who they're playing.
Okay. All right, we got Texas Tech against Montana State.
I'm gonna go Texas Tech here.
Okay. We got Michigan State versus
Davidson, yeah. I'm actually going to go against all the pundits and everybody who wants to see Michigan State play Duke and say they don't get out the first round. Let's go Davidson.
Okay. not that crazy of a pick to me, actually.
Yeah, Davidson's a good team, and they got a lot of shooters. I just saw them in the tournament, and they're definitely poised to, I think, surprise some people.
Yeah. All right. Duke. Do you think Duke is going to win against CS? I'm not even sure what team this is. That's how unlikely this.
That's Cal State Fullerton, and yes, I do believe
Cal
that Duke is
State.
going to win this game. Yeah,
that will tell you who I'm picking in this game. I don't even know. I don't even know what they stand for, bro. Like that's the only thing about the NCAA tournament. You see some of these initials, you're like, man, I gotta go look up see who this even is. Or I guess I could actually look at my my printed bracket that actually has the actual team names on them. That might be
no, not something like that, sir.
Hey, my excuse is I'm half blind, so
As long as you're only half, this might work. Because if you were fully blind, this might be a different situation.
All right, so we've got we're gonna stay here in the West. We're gonna work it all the way through. Gonzaga and Memphis in the second round.
Gonzaga.
Okay. Then we got New Mexico State against Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Okay. Bama against Texas Tech.
Bama.
Okay. And Davidson and Duke.
Duke.
All right. So in the semis in the West, we've got Gonzaga and Arkansas.
Gonzaga.
Okay. And we got Bama and Duke.
Bama.
Okay. And then who do you got winning the West? Gonzaga or Bama?
Bama.
Okay. Taking Bama to the Final Four.
I'm taking Bama to the Final Four. If Gonzaga didn't have Bama in the bracket, I think they win it. A lot of people are sleeping on Alabama. Alabama was the number one team in the country for a good portion of the season. They had a couple of unfortunate losses at the end of the season in the SEC. But as you can see, they're not playing an SEC team. And Gonzaga is one of those teams that they could win this game, right? Because I believe this is the game you'll see is Gonzaga and Alabama. But I feel like Alabama just has that. People have counted us out. We've dropped in the rankings a lot. A lot of people are saying, oh, whatever. And this is a Final Four matchup happening in the Elite Eight, in my opinion. And I just feel like Alabama is just going to be able to do a little bit more. They've had some chippy wins all year. And I think they're going to be able to continue the trend of Gonzaga being the best team and still not winning the championship.
Okay. All right. Going over to the South, which a lot of people think is actually the toughest of the four. So you've got Arizona playing the winner of Wright State and Bryant.
Yeah, it's Arizona. It doesn't matter who wins that game.
Are you saying it doesn't matter?
If you smell what I'm cooking, yes.
All right, then we got Seton Hall against TCU.
I'm gonna go TCU here.
Okay. We got Houston against UAB.
This was a game I contemplated for a while. I'm going to actually go with Houston in this 5-12 matchup. So, of course, this will be the one that actually the 12 wins.
Now,
but I'm going to go with Houston.
I will put out there, I'm going to put Houston because I said I was going to trust your picks on here, but I actually have this as my 5-12 matchup upset.
Well, you know what? Let's go with your 5-12 matchup then. Let's go with your upset.
Then we got Illinois against Chattanooga.
I'm going to pick Illinois.
Yeah. Then we got Colorado State against Michigan.
Michigan should not be here. Colorado State is going to get rid of them.
They should even be here.
Michigan should be the number one seed in the NIT.
All right, we got Tennessee against Longwood.
So we got to have some upsets here. So let's pick Longwood. Plus, I mean, it's Longwood.
I mean, you can't really not go with that, right? You want Longwood to go as far as it can, right?
It kind of writes itself, so you got to do it.
All right, we got Ohio State against Loyola Chicago.
So Loyola is a very, very good team. But unfortunately, they got a bad.
Ohio State.
Yes, unfortunately, they got a bad first round matchup. So yeah,
So
we're gonna go.
Ohio State.
Yes, sir. And we're
All
also
right.
going Nova.
Yeah. We're just
Yeah.
gonna wait. Pencil that on in. All right.
Yeah, we're not
So-
gonna play with Delaware. Let's just not do this.
Yeah. So going back up here to the top, we got Arizona and TCU.
Arizona.
Okay. UAB and Illinois.
I'm gonna say UAB. Let's go ahead and have something else that goes with the Longwood.
All right. We got Colorado State and Longwood. Is Longwood going deep?
Longwood is not going deep. Colorado State. Sorry, Longwood. Just didn't go deep enough.
It happens, man. It happens. All right.
It does.
Oh.
It does.
All right. Ohio State versus Nova. Who you got?
Let's go Nova.
All right. So Arizona and UAB. I'm going to assume that this is the end of Cinderella here.
There's the end of Cinderella.
And Colorado State and Nova.
Nova.
So a rare 1 versus 2.
And Zona is going to whoop that trick.
All right. So we got Bama and Zona in the Final Four so far. Let's find out
they
who
would
they're going to be
only
playing
meet
against.
if they were in the championship.
Right,
Ironically.
so let's find out who they're going to be playing against.
Let's go.
We're going to go over here to the East. Go ahead and get my homerism alert ready. It might kick in at some point here. So we got Baylor and Norfolk.
We're definitely going to rock with Baylor.
Excuse me, Norfolk State. I want to go ahead and give them their full names since the only time they get mentioned.
Yes, sir. This will be a quick one and done.
So Snowman in the morning with Cole Johnson says bear down Arizona. So which way they going?
Yes.
All right. Some school from Carolina apparently is playing on Marquette.
Yes,
who are you picking in that one?
We're going with the school from Carolina.
Okay.
And I will explain why. So Carolina just had a rather not too good game, we'll say, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing about Carolina is after a bad game, they have a couple of games where they actually play well. There's a bad game coming, and that's the one they're going to lose. It's just not this one. So we're going to go Carolina, sorry.
Okay. I mean, I'm not actually going to disagree with you on this. I actually would pick Carolina here anyway. So I just want to give you a hard time about it. All right. So we got St. Mary's at Indiana.
St. Mary's at Indiana. So thought about this one. I'm going to go Indiana. I hate that we're going to have a whole bunch of 12s beating 5s, but Indiana, Indiana has the ultimate chip on their shoulder. So paint the scenario. Indiana had to play in to get here, and Michigan walked in, right? And I'm sorry if you're a Michigan fan, it's nothing personal. Michigan does not have the resume or the wins to be here. And they were here. So you've got a couple of teams that probably feel like they're better than Michigan, and they're a little upset because of how things worked out. So I think Indiana's one of those teams going to use that fire to pull themselves a little bit further.
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on this one. I could definitely see the upset happening. I actually went with St. Mary's, but this one's a little bit close, and I can honestly see it going either way. All right, so
but fear not,
Indiana in there.
We will have a 5 that wins. Fear not, people. Fear not.
Yes, it will eventually happen, right?
It's going to happen right across the way.
Against Akron.
UCLA Pac-12's solid this year.
All right, we got Texas versus Virginia Tech.
Hmm. I'm going to go Virginia Tech. They won the ACC. They seem to be hot at the right time. So I think they'll be able to extend that for at least one more game.
Now, one person is not going to be happy with you.
I do too. If she sees it, it is what it is.
All right,
It is what it is.
we got Purdue versus Yale.
We're gonna go Purdue for sure.
Okay. Murray State versus San Francisco.
We're gonna rock with Murray State. They doing their thing.
All right, we got Kentucky against St. Peter's.
Well, St. Peter's, this is where you shriek, sir. We're going to go University of Kentucky.
that just felt like such a given. All right. Round 2 in the East. Baylor
Yes.
and UNC.
It just bye Baylor. Too many injuries. It's time to go home.
So you're going North Carolina?
I'm going North Carolina.
Okay. So then we got Indiana and UCLA.
UCLA.
Okay. Virginia Tech and Purdue.
Purdue.
The Boilermakers.
The Boilermakers.
And Murray State versus the University of Kentucky Wildcats.
Not sold on University of Kentucky this year. I'm more sold on Murray State. So we're going to go Murray State.
Okay. All right. UNC, UCLA.
This is where we say goodbye to UNC, UCLA.
Okay.
2 good games in a row in the March Madness. Yeah.
I mean, you got them going like one more round than I would have, but it's okay. At least you didn't go like super homer on me.
Yeah, because the thing is, I feel like you're going to get up, you're going to beat Baylor, you're going to come back a few days later, play UCLA, and play like you played against Virginia Tech.
All right, we got.
I hope I'm wrong, but got to play the realness of the numbers.
I feel you. Purdue and Murray State.
Gonna slide in the Boilermakers here.
Wow,
Purdue.
So far you have no Cinderellas going to the big dance here.
I do not, sir. I don't believe this is a year for the Cinderellas to go to the big dance, but I do believe, as you can see from my picks, this is the year for some of those guys to, at least get them a win. I just don't see like that. I don't see that the team that's going to really be able to outmatch some of the more skilled teams. And keep in mind, we have a lot of guys that are 5th-year players that are playing on some of these bigger teams as well, some of these more well-known schools because of what happened with COVID a couple of years ago. So you're getting a lot more extra experience, which is normally the advantage that the mid-market teams have. So I feel like, that advantage is going to be mitigated a little bit this year. That's why my brother falling the way they're falling.
We'll see what happens when we get over to the last area and figure and see if you have any Cinderellas even make it to the Elite 8 or not. So UCLA Purdue, who is going to the Final Four?
UCLA.
All right.
I have them in the Final Four.
So we're going to have Bama versus UCLA on one side of the Final Four.
So that's my that's my Cinderella picks. I think that's 2 number 4s going correctly.
Okay. And we will talk about who's going to win that game after we go to the Midwest Conference over here.
Of course.
All right, so in the Midwest, we've got Kansas versus Texas Southern.
Kansas all day.
Okay. San Diego State against Creighton.
We're going to go Creighton.
Shout out to Will.
Big Will, what's going on, man?
All right. We got Iowa against Richmond.
This is the 5 I have winning. I got Iowa.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a few people picking Richmond as one of the upsets, but I'm not seeing it.
Richmond is good this year, but Iowa's better.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Providence against South Dakota State.
This was the one I hated picking the most because I really feel like it's going to be real tight. Um, you know what? It's balls to the wall. Let's go South Dakota State.
Okay. We
Yeah,
got LSU at Iowa State. Tigers versus Cyclones.
we're going to go Iowa State actually.
Okay. Wisconsin against Colgate.
Wisconsin.
By the way, Will says y'all need to get up soon, man.
Got to make it happen, man. We will.
All right,
For sure.
if this was football, I know who you'd want to pick, but this is basketball. So USC versus Miami.
Still making the same pick. I'm going Miami.
Okay. And we got Auburn against Jacksonville State.
I'm going Auburn.
Okay. All right. So Kansas and Creighton.
Kansas.
Iowa at South Dakota State.
Gonna go Iowa.
Iowa State and Wisconsin.
I'm going to go Iowa State.
Okay. And then Miami, Auburn.
It's a good team, but I like what Miami does with their length and their aggressiveness, and I like their coach a lot too. So I'm actually going to roll with Miami in this one.
Okay. All right. So that gives us Kansas and Iowa in a 1 versus 5 matchup.
This is the second hardest game in the whole bracket, in my opinion, to pick. Iowa is a 4. It's not a 5. They're placed there, but they're really not a 5. Kansas is susceptible. They don't have the coaching that they've had in the past. Coaching is paramount in the tournament, so I'm going to go Iowa.
Okay. All right. And then we got Iowa State against Miami. Is it gonna be the Iowa versus Iowa State rivalry game? Or is Miami
It is not,
going
sir.
to play spoiler?
Miami is going to whoop that trick.
Actually,
Or maybe not whoop the trick, but I think Miami's going to win.
I say spoiler, like spoiler as in like they're going to mess up the rivalry, not an upset. So
Yeah.
Miami is the higher seed, just to be clear.
Absolutely. And then I have
All right.
Iowa winning.
So Miami is your semi Cinderella
The
to
Midwest.
get into the
Iowa State was the semi-Cinderella.
All right. So we've got first game Alabama versus UCLA in the Final Four. Who's winning?
Alabama.
All right. And then we got Arizona against Iowa.
Arizona. This is tight. This is like, so I want y'all to know like how tight this is. This is when you say like, you know what I'm saying? Like, naturally tight. Like one possession, who has the ball last tight, but I'm going to go Arizona.
Okay. So that means our championship game, according to my co-host, is the Alabama Crimson Tide against the Arizona Wildcats. Who's taking home the trophy?
Yes, sir. It's going to look like college football. Alabama's taking it this year, guys. I don't like it, but that's what I feel.
All right. So we got to put in the tiebreaker for the score. What's your prediction here?
69-62.
69.
Alabama
62.
69, Arizona 62. That's what I'm doing.
At 92, 62.
Yeah, I think we get a solid championship game, but I have the Alabama Crimson Tide winning the national championship.
I have
Arizona
to be honest,
fans
man,
are not going to like that.
I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised. I did not expect you to end up going with Alabama as your champion. A little surprised by that.
I told you, man. To me, to me, it's not about where you end up necessarily. It's about who's really the best team. Like you look at Baylor. The reason I have Baylor using to UNC is they have a couple of their better players are out injured, right? They may get them back. I haven't looked to see if they're expected to come back, but they're not going to be in game shape even if they do return. So I'm kind of looking at Baylor like you're the ones that are like, okay, we don't have everything that we normally have at full capacity. So you're probably going to catch a nail. It is what it is. You're doing this a lot of times. You think you have certain teams in mind. Like I know this team is going to get here. I know this team is going to get there. But like everybody else, when you're actually doing a bracket, like, okay, well, this team matches up good against this team, so I think this team is going to win. So you're like, well, man, I had them going far, but bad matchup. It happens.
Yeah. And, we talk about that every year, right? I mean, that's kind of the big thing with the NCAA tournament is you can be more talented than somebody. You might even be talented enough to win the whole thing. But you get that matchup against somebody that just knocks you off your game. And you lose. You lose a game that you shouldn't lose on paper. But it's just a really bad matchup.
Yeah, a lot of these teams, the thing is going to be defense. So a lot of the teams that I have that you might expect to win, not winning, is because they may not be playing the same caliber of defense that the team, when you're doing your brackets, I'm sure it looks different from mine. And I want to go ahead and preface the bracket by saying this is the bracket sure to go wrong. So, my bracket is this way. I'm sure that there will be games on there that are incorrect. Heck, Alabama might use in the first round just because I picked them to win the championship. This happens. But I think that when I'm looking at no bias, this is who I have going because of matchups. And that's why I like matchups. Like we talk about college basketball all the time. I say matchups, you got to watch the matchups. It's always a matchup, right? Virginia Tech was always a good matchup for Duke. Yeah. They're not a good matchup for Miami. They're not a good for several other teams, but they're a good matchup for Duke. Miami matchup in the bracket that they have because, again, they have a lot of older players. Jim Larrañaga is a really good coach. They've been through some difficult times, and the ACC is down this year, but they were able to get an at-large bid at a high seed. So clearly, Miami's been playing well this year. So I think when you look at that, and you look at the fact that they were one of the better teams throughout the season in the ACC, the veteran leadership, the length, it's enough there for you to say this is a team that can make a run in the tournament and kind of build themselves up and bring themselves to a level that some of the other teams in the ACC cannot just do 2.5 years.
I mean, it's definitely.
And we know Duke's going to win a few games. Yeah, and we know Duke's going to win a few games. It's Coach K's final thing. I know a lot of people have them winning because it's Coach K's last year. And don't get me wrong, 50-50 calls are always going to go for Duke in this tournament. Let's be 100% real. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to give Duke the business. And I believe that that's going to happen. And that's why I don't have them advancing any further than I do.
I mean, let's be real. I get why people say it, and I get the idea. But Coach K's last home game, they couldn't get up and beat North Carolina. A game they should have been up for anyways. ACC tournament, you couldn't get up to send him out with the ACC championship for his last season. So why would you believe that they're going to get up and send him home with a championship in the NCAA tournament?
I think a lot of people believe the referees are going to be a big part of that. But it's like you have to understand, like I said, the referees are going to do their part. but Duke still has to do their part on the court as well. And that's where I think you're going to see it happen, where it's just going to break. There's been some some reports that he's been very adamant about getting into his players, about how they've been playing, which is a nice way of saying he's been acting a fool and letting them know about how disappointed he's been and how they've played at the end of the season in the ACC tournament, losing that game. But, at the end of the day, man, they're kids, right? You got a lot of guys that are first and second year players. You're bringing these classes of guys that are one and dones, and you want them to become a cohesive unit in one season and win a championship. And it's not realistic anymore. Like, it was good for a couple of years. You've got to have kind of those couple of seniors, those couple of juniors mixed in, right? That are getting playing time and also being part of it. And Duke's gotten to that point where the same thing is happening with Kentucky. You've got so many that those are your guys now. You don't have a lot of juniors and seniors. So I think that hurts some. And, I think more experience. Again, a lot of guys have the fifth year. There's talk of a lot of guys, because remember, if you were playing, you have a fifth year. So it wasn't necessarily the next year, but during your college career. So a guy like for UNC, Leaky Black, he can have a fifth year next year if he wants to come back and play. There's guys all over the country that move to another school to get their fifth year, like Garrison Brooks, like Brady Manning did with UNC. So there's, a lot of guys that you're going to see back next year, and that's going to make the tournament even more interesting and more exciting. If you're a fringe NBA player and you got a fifth year you can play in college, why wouldn't you come back? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I definitely hear where you're coming from. You have to kind of look at all these pieces and kind of look at things in a bigger perspective, right? And I think
Holistic
one thing
approach.
people, yeah, and I think one thing people overlook a lot of times, we talk about, the matchup issue, and you say, well, why didn't a team make it to the Final Four even if they had favorable matchups? Well, there's a game that you overestimated how good somebody was against the matchup they had earlier. A team ends up advancing that shouldn't have advanced on paper, and they're also a terrible matchup for this other team. And so now you end up with this team ends up playing somebody they shouldn't have been playing. They should have been a matchup nightmare against everybody they played, and instead they're now going against their own matchup nightmare. And that's how you end up with some of these teams that should go deep, and they end up losing like in the second or third round, and just like, whoa, what happened? Why they get knocked out in the Sweet 16 when we all thought they were going to be playing for the championship.
Right. It's matchups.
That's what makes the tournament exciting.
One and done.
Yep. In the words of Forrest Gump, you never know what you're going to get.
It's like a box of chocolates.
And you talk about your bracket sure to go wrong. Considering that the odds of getting a perfect bracket are something like 1 in 900 quadrillion, I think mostly everybody's brackets be wrong, sir. Yeah, mostly everybody's odds. And I'm only mildly making that number up. I actually heard somebody give the actual number earlier. It was something ridiculous like that. I forget the exact number, but yeah, it was some ridiculousness like that.
It'll be like one third of the brackets will be done after the first round.
Yeah,
it's crazy when it happens.
So let me ask you, man, what is your definition of your bracket is busted?
So to me, bracket is busted when you get to the Sweet 16 and you've only got half of your teams there, and then at least 4 of those teams lose. So you go to the Elite 8 and you got like 2 teams left. Unless those 2 teams are the ones that win, your bracket is busted.
Fair enough. My thought process is I consider a bracket completely busted if I only get 1 or less teams into the Final Four that I picked. If I get at least 2, then my bracket wasn't completely busted. It was just not great. If I get 3 out of 4, I'm throwing a party. You know what I'm saying?
So the thing is, if you get to 2, here's what you don't want. You don't want the 2 to be playing each other, right?
Right.
So say you get you get one side correct and you get the other side completely wrong. So you go in a championship game with like one team that you picked, because you can only have one team that you picked in. Because if you can get if you can have all your picks correct at the Sweet 16, you're golden, right? You're pretty golden.
Yeah.
You could get screwed up at Elite 8, but
your chance of getting something in at that point is pretty good, y'all.
Mm-hmm. But
Unless
even
this Sweet 16 just goes really bad for you.
yeah, and even in even last year, I don't think even anyone had a perfect bracket through the Sweet 16. There were so many like just upsets and so much craziness that happened.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think anybody even had a perfect bracket. I think there were people that still had all of their teams there, but they had like a first round upset that they picked that didn't happen or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that last year.
Well, man, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. Just want to go ahead, hop on, give our insights on this tournament, show you what our picks were. I tried to share the link. It won't share just yet because I guess it's not locked until tomorrow. Probably once it locks, we'll be able to share that. So we'll put that out on our Twitter account so you can check it out. Of course, you can always watch the replay of the show by going to playcollegesportstalk.com, which is our YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're there and like this video while you're there also. So,
yes, sir.
And as long as you're doing all that, you might as well go ahead and hit that little notification bell so it'll remind you to come back and join us in 2 days on Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our regular live interactive sports talk show.
And just know, Friday, we're going to be heavy on NFL free agency, very heavy. So we're getting this. So you have this. You can hear what we got to say. Spend the time on it. Go with you. Friday, it's a different vibe. Let's go.
Y'all know what it is. See y'all next Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
2 days.